Yeah, so there's a lot of different agencies in the state, but who can actually pull you over? So this is the question: can FWC pull me over for a traffic violation? Good question. So that with a few different agencies out there, I could understand this. So we refer, and I'm sure FWC refers to the same, it's a brother-sister type thing, as our sister or brother agency. So the FHP and FWC, we work real close, but different missions, right?
Okay.
So FWC, right? Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation, they are primarily focused on keeping our animals safe, right? Hunting laws, agricultural, stuff like that. But if they're out on the highway and you zoom past them, can they pull you over? Yes, they can. And their jurisdiction is vast. When I say vast, I mean not only can they enforce state law, they can also enforce federal law.
Okay.
So when it comes to those federal hunting laws and regulations, even out on the water, these are the men and women to watch out for, and they can write you a speeding ticket also. We attend the exact same academy on the same property. There are brothers and sisters out there. So if you see this out there, they come in multiple different shapes and nice little gray. It does say state law enforcement.
Lights and sirens there
too. The
too.
whole works. They've got the same ticket writers we do, so slow down.
Thank you so much, Trooper Steve.
It's been 10 days since an assassination attempt on former President of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers. Again, this party, this committee, this is not a moment of theater. We have to make policy decisions, and we have to make them now. We do. And that may be and that may require legislation. That may require policy that we must pass in the immediate term. And without that, we are flying blind. So the lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. You know, I really do appreciate it. And we're going to start off in Lexington with this off-duty Lexington police officer who's been arrested for DUI. I just got to ask, folks, have a look at those eyes. You guys remember that 10th grade photo when you showed up and you'd been out in the smoking shed before you showed up? She looks like she just downed a pint of that good old Mountain Dew. After all, she's from Lexington. She might be a moonshiner's daughter. I don't know. Just opinionated. A Lexington police officer has been arrested and charged with DUI. According to the Lexington Police Department, Officer Rachel Kernut was arrested Sunday after an officer observed her driving her personal vehicle on Man-O-War Boulevard. What are you doing over there on Man-O-War Boulevard, lady? During the course of the investigation, officers determined that Kernut was under the influence of alcohol. She was charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. Effective today, Kernut was relieved of her sworn duties and transferred to an administrative assignment in accordance with department policy while the incident is under review. According to public records, Kernut received a written reprimand. Oh, bad girl. According to more public records, Kernut received a written reprimand and lost her home fleet privileges for 2 weeks in March 2021 for violation of General Order 1973, whatever, blah, 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 Disciplinary Procedures, Appendix B, Operation Rule. Oh, preventable collisions. Oh, Kernut. The records show that Kernut has been involved in 3 at-fault collisions within a 12-month period. What a goofball. Okay. This is so funny, you guys. Oh, this is going to be great. The first and most obvious reason for the collisions, admitted by Officer Kernut, is her lack of attention to her surroundings. You mean like, I'm not in the bar anymore? I mean, I'm behind the wheel now? Just kidding. She realizes she's moving too fast. Oh, and not making herself aware. Oh, God, I've had 14 shots now. Just kidding. And aware of the various hazards while operating department vehicles. You know, like bottles clanking around on the back while you're bouncing off of other people's cars. Her goal for this behavior is to force herself to slow down and be more vigilant in recognizing these situations prior to putting herself into a position of having another collision. Well, Chief, what does this have to do with the price of eggs in China? Didn't she just get arrested on DUI? I think she's got a bigger problem. Okay. She does recall 2 collisions she had prior to being employed by the police department that were similar in nature, so she realizes this is a problem she needs to work on. Whoa, what about the... Okay, we'll leave it alone. I know it's probably family tradition around there. Another possible solution she's looking into is having her eyes checked. Oh my goodness. You guys, I'm actually reading this. I need to have my eyes checked. This is the chief here. Oh, she does not believe that this is a factor, but she has an appointment next week just to make sure. Yes, lady, have your eyes checked. You see that thing that you thought was just a shot glass and it was actually a tumbler full of vodka? Officer Kernut does appear to understand why she has amassed 3 collisions in such a short period of time. This has nothing to do with the fact that she was drinking and driving. She appears to be willing to work hard to correct her weaknesses and avoid other incidents. Her attitude during the interview was extremely good and appeared to be open to suggestions of her having training to help her avoid any future collisions, said the Lexington Police Department. They're saying that about Officer Glassy Eyes here. And no, she doesn't look like Sandy Duncan to me. Off-duty Lexington police officer arrested for DUI. I wonder if it'll be her last time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, the American people are watching, and they're wondering if there are any questions you can answer honestly today. So, Director Cheadle, I have a series of questions, very specific questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question, yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure, yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable, yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent, yes or no?
I have always been
Yes
eager to
or no?
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer
to
the question.
committee.
We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political, yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you
That
on
is a no. You're full of today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr.
Chairman.
Completely
Mr.
dishonest.
Chairman.
Chairman, I want to.
I'm
Come
gonna
on.
We have to
continue.
maintain decorum in this committee, no matter
Have
how
you provided
upset we
any
get.
and all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on
That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. You're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has asked of the Secret Service? Any of it?
I'll have to get back to you on
Have
that.
you even read this letter that we sent you? Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have said you don't know, you have no idea. The answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So, was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to examine.
Training, execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All right. How many Secret Service personnel have lost their jobs due to this colossal failure?
At this time, none.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently operational. We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Folks, did you know that normal people don't get DUIs all the time? Drunk people do. People that are drunk, they get behind the wheel and they drive all the time, like these cops. Okay, Madison County Sheriff's Department deputy charged with DUI. Okay, so he got busted, but there's a high likelihood that this dude does it all the time. Okay, according to Kentucky State Police, oh yeehaw, another moonshiner, Jonathan Thompson, an off-duty Madison County Sheriff's deputy, was arrested and charged with DUI on Sunday. KSP says Thompson was driving on Charlie Norris Road just before 11 p.m. Saturday evening when he pulled out in front of a motorcycle driven by Preston Lambert, 21. Oh, you dangerous turkey. Okay, KSP then added Thompson stopped in the roadway while attempting to make a left turn into the residence, causing the motorcycle to rear end his vehicle. Lambert was taken to the University of Kentucky blah, blah, blah hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, but KSP says Thompson showed signs of alcohol impairment and was arrested and taken to the Madison County Detention Center. Big dummy. Thompson has been charged with assault and operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol. What's the assault from? Had something to do with him stopping and had road raging with that motorcycle, didn't he? We should find more out about that. Thompson's listed as a deputy at the Madison County Sheriff's website. Oh, they got a website. This is a developing story and will be updated as we learn more. Oh, yes. Check him out. Oh, the scruffy thumb. All right. Moving on.
A Savannah police employee logging nearly 3,900 overtime hours over 4 years. But it's time prosecutors say she never worked. Chief Lenny Gunther declined our request for an interview, but in a statement called the incident, quote, an egregious theft of taxpayer money. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole was the first to break this story. He spent hours digging through documents and has since learned how she pulled it off.
192 hours of overtime in a single 2-week pay period. That's what Savannah Police's Southside Precinct Administrative Assistant Tiffany Welch Neely logged the week of September 10, 2023. Over those 14 days, she claimed to have worked 11 of them straight without a single break. But this isn't an isolated incident. Through the Open Records Act, we requested all of Welch Neely's pay stubs from her time working for the city. In January 2020, after a year of working for Savannah Police, Tiffany Welch Neely started logging large amounts of overtime. We found 23 pay periods where she logged more than 70 hours of overtime. By the time it was all said and done, prosecutors say she stole $150,000 in taxpayer money.
To me, that is physically impossible for someone to be working that many hours. The question I have is, why wasn't that caught? That's the big question I have. Why wasn't that caught?
We asked the city of Savannah that exact question. In a statement, the city says Welch Neely adjusted the numbers after her supervisor signed off. As an administrative assistant, it was Welch Neely's job to submit time for the entire precinct. The city admits, quote, safeguards in place to prevent this theft failed.
Unfortunately, when we don't have updated systems and we have old way of doing things, this is the sort of issue that we run into.
When you have someone who does not do the right thing, then you identify them, you investigate, and then you prosecute.
The city did just that. In late June, Welch Neely was indicted on 3 counts of theft by taking and 3 counts of theft by deception. She spent a night in jail in early July, but remains out on bond awaiting trial.
These are pretty egregious. That, this isn't skimming a little bit off of the top. These are pretty egregious, discrepancies that I think if anyone was paying any kind of attention, they should have caught, right?
The city says since discovering Welch Neely's theft, they've created more robust checks and balances and now conduct monthly payroll audits. They also say once the case is adjudicated, the city will be able to file an insurance claim for the theft of taxpayer dollars.
And every time a public employee does that, there's an opportunity for someone to say, see, I told you, they're all crooks. And it makes it bad on all of us. So, it's unfortunate. But again, I believe we identified it. And so we have addressed it, and I think addressed it appropriately.
We asked to talk with Police Chief Lenny Gunther on camera, but he declined our request. In a statement, Gunther says the safeguards failed, but, quote, it is our responsibility to prevent misuse of taxpayer funds in our payroll process, and we're taking action to make the process more secure. We also reached out to Welch Neely for this story. She, too, declined our request for an interview.
That's all she wrote. That's it, folks. Thanks so much for spending your morning with me this morning and every morning right here at home on the range to watch the Bad Apple Report. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples for you, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., bright and early.